Hey everyone, welcome to Little Builds. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made these nice little pull handles on these cabinets. So let's get started. Okay, so for this build, you're gonna need your cabinets, obviously. You're gonna need a ruler or a scale, something to measure out inches in whatever scale you're using. So this is an architect scale. You can get them at pretty much any craft store or architect shop. You're gonna need two types of pliers. One that is flat, so you can flatten out some curved metal. And then the second one, you're gonna need wire cutters. One drill bit. So this is a 0.8 millimeter drill bit that I'll be using. You're gonna need some galvanized steel wire or any kind of wire you wanna use. Basically, wire that is rounded and can come on a roll or straight, whatever you want. However, this rolled up wire is a lot easier to cut than say the metal 1 millimeter dowel pieces you're gonna get from a craft store. You're gonna need some kind of part for the actual handle pull. So this is tiny dowel pins. They're metal and they're already been sanded and cut to size. So you can either buy these pre-made or you can cut your own with the with this galvanized metal wire. So I got these on Amazon. I believe they're like 10 bucks for 100 of them, and they're pretty great. Then you're gonna need some tweezers because we're gonna be dealing with 1 millimeter thick metal pieces. So I definitely suggest some offset tweezers for that. And then lastly, some super glue. I use Loctite. This is a gel super glue. That way I have more control. And then some sandpaper if you decide you want to sand some of your pieces down. With that, let's get started. All right, so here are my cabinet fronts. So the first thing you want to do is measure out where you want the pulls to go. So since these are drawers, I'm going to have them going across the top. You can also have some that go up and down. Just make sure that if the two drawers are together and say they would open like this, you would put the handles on the same side. So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna measure out where I want these to go. Keep in mind that whatever length these are, you don't want your drill holes to be wider than what this is. So if you've never used an architect scale before, each one of those little marks is an inch. You can see, 3690. Those are all inches. So whenever I'm measuring this out, I'm gonna do 1 inch, which is that right there. So I do 1 inch inside of however long these are. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is see how long these are. Roughly 7.5 inches in scale. That means that this needs to be at, I need to do some math. Okay, splitting is 9 inches and the handle is 7.5 inches. 3.25. So this is 3.75. So what is it from the edge? Okay. 5.25 inches. Plus 1, 6.25 inches. So here is where we're gonna drill the holes. And that needs to be 6.25 inches. All right. Was it 6.5? There we go. Does that look right? Yep. Okay. So once you've got drill points marked, you're gonna drill all the way through. So like I said in the beginning, I'm using a 0.8 millimeter drill bit, which of course is smaller than 1.2 and also 1 millimeter. And I'm doing that so that the parts that hold the handle away from the cabinet front, I want that to be really sturdy. And if I make it the exact same size as 1.2, or one, it's gonna compromise the integrity of, so I'm just cutting this. Boom. And then you can use your flat nose to straighten out the curved part of the wire. Okay, so if you've done that, you need to measure how thick the cabinet face is. So these would be 1.5 inches. So I want the handles to stick out 1 inch. So I'm gonna go to 2.5 inches for the handle. So I'm gonna grab this guy, the part that I straightened out. Gonna put it down on my, you can actually sand this part. You probably can't see, but because I used wire cutters, it pinches. So in order to kind of get rid of that pinch, you can just sand, using your sandpaper. You can sand it, more flat, so it doesn't have a pinched end. Then I'm gonna be marking this with my wire cutters. So I'm gonna look for 2.5, and I'm just gonna pinch. So I mark it. Now here's the important part. Whenever you're cutting a small piece of wire, if you've had this experience and you cut that little piece off, it's gonna go flying. So what I like to do is just stick this part in a bag and cut it within a bag. That way it doesn't, when it flies out, I can find it and catch it. Aim it away from you. It goes flying. So since I used a bag, I can find the part super easy and just grab it. So once you have that, you can use these flat nose to grab a hold of it. You might have to just use your pliers like a push guide and just push them through. Okay, so there is one part. You can see it's kind of sticking out. So do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm just gonna prop this up so that I have a flat surface to work on. Now is the part where we're gonna take our dowel pin and we're gonna super glue it straight like that. Like I said, I'm using a gel, so it's very easy to control. Let's do this. Let's see. Good enough. I'm gonna put a decent size glove. Then, with my offset tweezers, I'm gonna grab this guy. I'm gonna use my other hand to control the tweezers. Otherwise, I tend to shake. So if you tend to shake, just use your other hand to control them. Okay. You have a little bit of time to straighten it out. Gonna roll it around. Okay, so once you place it on, you can take like an extra piece of metal and just help the glue go up the side of the piece so that you have a little bit more strength on the side. So I'm just gently moving the super glue. Okay, so then once you've got that, it is very, very important to let that cure before you touch it or move it. Yeah, so it'll fully cure in 24 hours, but it is safe to move around and mess with after 10 minutes. So that's with Loctite. Just, any kind of super glue, there is an official cure time that you should wait in order for it to really be solidified. So before I'll even paint on this, I'll let this dry overnight. So you can do all your cabinets, let them dry overnight. If they need to be propped up, leave them propped up. Let it dry overnight before you paint it. And yeah, that's how I build those little handles. Once this is cured and dried, you can use like a metallic paint pen to match the other colors of the hardware. Okay, so here's an example on these. I've just used paint to paint them black. So here you can see an example of just painting them. So thanks so much for watching this little build. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Ooh. And I'm bleeding.